Nam mô Bổn Sư Thích Ca Mâu Ni Phật. Dear venerable monastics, devout lay Buddhists, and kind-hearted viewers, a warm welcome to our weekly English Buddhist news, presented by the Information and Communication Board of Buddhist Sangha in Cà Province. May peace, compassion, and wisdom accompany you on the noble path of practice. This week, we'll bring you heartfelt story and inspiring Dharma events from Cà Province, reflecting the enduring life of Buddhist value in society. Quang Minh Dharma Assembly recognized an official Buddhist practice center. Giác Hoa Pagoda offers 300 charity gifts to people with disabilities. 2 new practice centers in Hòa Bình district officially established. The 9 Youth Towards the Buddha retreat and refuge ceremony held at Phong La Pagoda. Simultaneous shouting of wisdom bell drums to pray for national peace. Dharma lecture on Bride by Bhikkhuni Thích Nữ Nhân Nguyệt at the Bhikkhuni Vinaya class. 37th Anchor House presented to a disadvantaged family in Vĩnh Trạch World. Bhikkhuni Thích Nữ Tịnh Nghiêm expound on Buddhist precepts. Vipassana retreat on letting go in meditation guided by Venerable Thích Đồng Tâm. First meetings of the Unified Cà Buddhist Sangha Standing Committee. On June 28th, the Executive Board of Buddhist Sangha in Cà Province solemnly organized a ceremony to officially recognize Quang Minh Dharma Assembly, a centralized Buddhist practice point in Lung Chim Ham Lesden Thành Commune, Đông Hải District. Venerable Thích Quảng Thới, Vice Chairman of the Executive Board, presided over the event. On this occasion, Venerable Thích Thiện Đạt were appointed as officially representative to oversee and guide the assembly. The event concluded with distribution of 100 charity packages sponsored by Ms. Thọ Nhân from Ho Chi Minh City, spreading the spirit of compassion to those in need.
On the morning of June 28, 2025, the Executive Board of Vietnam Buddhist Sangha in Bạc Liêu Province solemnly held a ceremony to officially recognize and appoint a representative for the Quang Minh Lay Buddhist Dharma Assembly, located in Lung Chim Hamlet, Đinh Thành Commune, Đông Hải District. The ceremony was honored by the presence of Venerable Thích Quảng Thới, Vice Chairman of the Provincial Executive Board, along with the senior monastic and abbots from across the province. Also in attendance were Mr. Trần Quốc Linh, Vice Chairman of the Commune People's Committee, local government officials, and a large gathering of lay devotees. During the ceremony, Venerable Thích Thiện Năng, Chief Secretary of the Provincial Executive Board, announced the official recognition of the Quang Minh Assembly as a centralized religious gathering. Venerable Thích Quảng Thới formally presented the recognition decision and appointed Venerable Thích Thiện Đạt as the official representative and administrator of the assembly. In his Dharma address, Venerable Quảng Thới commended Venerable Thiện Đạt dedication to Dharma propagation and community service. He also expressed sincere gratitude to local authorities and lay Buddhists for their continued support in securing formal recognition for the assembly, which now serve as a spiritual refuge for local Buddhist community. On the same day, the Quang Minh Assembly organized a charitable distribution of 100 gift packages to disadvantaged households, each packet valued at 350,000 Vietnamese đồng, including rice, noodles, and essential supplies. This charitable activity was sponsored by lay devotee Ms. Thọ Nhân from Ho Chi Minh City, exemplifying the compassionate spirit of Buddhist service. Reported by Information and Communications Board of Bạc Liêu Buddhism.
On the same day, Bhikkhuni Thích Nữ Nghiêm Thành, abbess of Giác Hoa Pagoda in Châu Thới Commune, Vĩnh Lợi District, compassionately offered 300 gift sets to individuals with disabilities. It sets worth nearly 1 million Vietnam dong, including essential food and personal items. The support was made possible through the kind contribution of a charitable group from District 6, Ho Chi Minh City.
On the morning of June 28, 2025, Bhikkhuni Thích Nữ Nghiêm Thành, abbess of Giác Hoa Pagoda, Châu Thới Commune, Vĩnh Lợi District, organized the distribution of 308 packages to people with disabilities in the local area, with a total value of nearly 300 million Vietnamese dong. Each package was valued at nearly 1 million Vietnamese dong, included rice, noodles, essential items, daily necessities, and nearly 500,000 Vietnamese dong in cash. The donations were made possible by a charitable group from District 6, Ho Chi Minh City. The abbess expressed her deep appreciation for the benevolent and compassionate efforts of the charity group, who had frequently returned to support the temple and its charitable outreach, uplifting those in need and encouraging them on the path to a better life.
On June 29, two more Dharma practice centers, Ngọc Thiện and Bửu Minh, were officially recognized and entrusted to monastic representatives. Venerable Thích Huệ Thiền and Bhikkhuni Thích Nữ Liên Nhu were appointed to guide the two centers. Respectively, Venerable Thích Quảng Thới praised their dedication to spreading the Dharma and emphasized the role of these centers in providing spiritual refuge and more guidance to local communities.
On the morning of June 29, 2025, the Executive Board of Vietnam Buddhist Sangha in Bạc Liêu Province held ceremonies to officially recognize and appoint representatives for two centralized religious activity points: the Ngọc Thiện Lay Buddhist Dharma Assembly, Chùa Phát Hamlet, and the Bửu Minh Lay Buddhist Dharma Assembly, Nam Hưng Hamlet, both located in Hòa Bình District. At Ngọc Thiện Assembly, Venerable Thích Quảng Thới, Vice Chairman of the Provincial Executive Board, presided over the ceremony, accompanied by senior members of the Sangha and local government officials, including Mr. Tô Châu Hùng Luân, Vice Chairman of the Town People's Committee. During the event, Venerable Thích Thiện Năng, Chief Secretary of the Executive Board, announced the official recognition decision, after which Venerable Quảng Thới presented the decree and formally appointed Venerable Thích Huệ Thiện as the Assembly official representative. Later the same day, a second ceremony was held at Bửu Minh Assembly. Venerable Thích Minh Kiên, head of the Provincial Buddhist Culture Board, read the recognition decree, and Venerable Quảng Thới appointed Bhikkhuni Thích Nữ Liên Như as the official representative of the assembly. In his Dharma address, Venerable Quảng Thới praised the virtues and dedicated service of both appointed monastic. He expressed his hope that the two assemblies will become vibrant spiritual center, guiding lay followers in the correct practice of the Dharma and contributing positively to social harmony and community development. Reported by Information and Communications Board of Bạc Liêu Buddhism.
On same day, Phong Lợi Pagoda hosted its night retreat for young people under the guidance of Venerable Thích Trung Lành. The retreat included mindfulness practices, chanting, and Dhamma learning. More than 10 youth participants formally took refuge in Triple Gems and received 5 recepts, making the beginning of their Buddhist journeys.
On the morning of June 29, 2025, Phong Lợi Pagoda, Minh Thành Lợi A Commune, Hồng Dân District, held the night youth towards the Buddha retreat, guided by Venerable Thích Trung Lành, the resident abbot, with the participation of a large number of young retreatants. The program began with a light releasing ceremony, followed by chanting, Buddha recitation, and meditation sessions. On this occasion, Venerable Trung Lành also officiated the refuge in the Triple Chain and 5% transmission for over 10 participations, officially welcoming them into the Buddhist fold. The retreat concluded with group games that foster joy, unity, and life skills among participants, enriching their journey on the Buddhist path.
On the same day, at Bạch Liên Pagoda, Bhikkhuni Thích Nữ Nhân Nguyện delivered a profound lecture to the third cohort of Bhikkhuni Vinaya class, drawing from the discourse on pride in the Itivuttaka. She elucidated how pride leads to rebirth in unfortunate realms and how abandoning pride through mindfulness leads to liberation.
On the morning of July 1st, 2025, at the Bạch Liên Monastic Training Center, Bạc Liêu Ward, Bhikkhuni Thích Nữ Diệu Nghĩa, head of the Provincial Nun Subcommittee, invited Bhikkhuni Thích Nữ Như Nguyệt, deputy head of the Central Nun Subcommittee and vice dean of Buddhist History at the Vietnam Buddhist Academy in Ho Chi Minh City, based at Huai Lam Temple, to deliver a Dhamma talk to the third Vinaya class on the topic One Dhamma Arrogance. Bhikkhuni Như Nguyệt expounded on the discourse on conceit from Itivuttaka, one of the special texts in the Khuddaka Nikaya, consisting of only 6 verses spoken directly by the Buddha without request. With pride and conceit, beings are bound for realm of woe. But the wise, with meditative insight, abandons pride and conceit. Once gone, it never returns, this life or the next. Through the lecture, she helped practitioners recognize arrogance as one of the major defilements that obstruct liberation and cause beings to continue wandering in samsara. She also highlighted the importance of mindful awareness and wisdom as the path to recognizing and transforming conceit in daily life and practice.
At 6 a.m. on July 1st, Pagoda and retreat centers throughout Khao Mau province simultaneously sounded the wisdom bell and drum to mark the country's administrative transition to two-layer local government model. This solemn act symbolized the Buddhist spirit of national support and prayer for peace and prosperity. Monastics gathered in prayer, chanting sutras and dedicating merits for well-being of the country and its people.
On the morning of July 1st, 2025, in celebration of the nationwide implementations of the new two-tier local government system, all monastic retreat centers and temples across Khao Mau province simultaneously sounded the pranya bell and drum at 6 a.m., offering prayers for national peace and prosperity. Three principal monastic training centers, Long Phước Pagoda, Vĩnh Trạch War, Bạch Liên Pagoda, Bạc Liêu War, and Giác Hoa Pagoda, Châu Thới Commune, formally updated their administrative address to reflect the new government structure. In this spiritual significant event, highlights Buddhism's enduring role as a steadfast companion in the nation's journey and expresses hope for a new era of peace and progress. Synchronized bell and drum ceremony serves as a powerful reminder of the sacred mission Buddhism had carried for over 2,000 years, protecting the nation and bringing peace to the people. At each location, monastic practitioners gather in solemn assembly to chant sutra, pray homage to the triple gems, and offer sincere prayers for peace, harmony, and the well-being of all living beings through the radiant light of the Dharma. Reported by Information and Communication Board of Bạc Liêu Buddhism.
On July 2nd, Venerable Thích Thiện Tấn, residing at Long Phước Pagoda, handed over the 37 Angkor house to Mr. Trần Văn Kim and his family. The house were constructed with contribution from Khao Mau Buddhist Sangha and lay supporter, ensuring the family a stable shelter during stormy seasons.
On the morning of July 2nd, 2025, Venerable Thích Thiện Tấn, resident monastic at Long Phước Pagoda in Vĩnh Trạch War, representing Khao Mau Buddhism, formerly Bạc Liêu, coordinated with local authorities to officially hand over the 37th Angkor house to the family of Mr. Trần Văn Kim in Hamlet 3, Vĩnh Trạch War. The handover ceremony was attended by Mr. Quách Quốc Tuấn, chief of the Hamlet 3, along with local residents. The house, measuring 5 by 12 meters, was completed in just 1 month. The total construction cost amounted to 140 million Vietnamese đồng, with Khao Mau Buddhism contributing 60 million Vietnamese đồng, and the remaining funds generously donated by lay Buddhists and benefactors associated with Long Phước Pagoda. During the ceremony, Venerable Thích Thiện Tấn expressed deep gratitude to local government and all donors for their support. He emphasized that the new home would provide Mr. Kim's family with much needed security and stability, especially meaningful as the rainy season approaches. Reported by Information and Communication Board of Khao Mau Buddhism, formerly Bạc Liêu.
Also on July 2nd, Bhikkhuni Thích Nữ Tịnh Nghiêm gave a Dhamma talk at the Bhikkhuni Vinaya class on the essential role of reserve in the path of enlightenment. She emphasized that moral discipline is the foundation of Dhamma and encouraged practitioners to uphold the reserve as their livelihood in monastic life.
On the morning of July 2nd, 2025, at the Bạch Liên Monastic Training Center, Bạc Liêu Ward, Bhikkhuni Thích Nữ Tịnh Nghiêm, Deputy Head of the Central Non-Subcommittee and Honorary Advisor to the Non-Subcommittee of Đồng Tháp Province, gave a lecture on the topic of the precept. At the request of Bhikkhuni Thích Nữ Duyên Nghĩa, Senior Advisor of the Khao Mau Non-Subcommittee, Bhikkhuni Tịnh Nghiêm emphasized that the precepts are the foundation of the Buddhist path, like a mirror that illuminates all the Dhamma teachings. For one who aspires to liberation and spiritual attainment, nothing is more vital than the diligent observation of the precepts. They are the basic for training the body and mind, transforming afflictions, and leading toward a peaceful, pure, and enlightened life. With compassionate and profound teachings, she encouraged the practitioner to treat the precepts as their very breath and to live in full according with moral discipline and nourish their spiritual path.
On the same day, Venerable Thích Đồng Tâm, Dharma teachers at the Provincial Buddhist Intermediate School guided the 4 Vipassana retreats at Long Phước Pagoda with the theme Letting Go in Meditation. He taught the insight methods of observing craving and clinging, emphasizing that true liberation arises when they realize attachment and abide in mindful presence.
On the morning of July 2nd, 2025, Venerable Thích Đồng Tâm, the lecturer at Provincial Intermediate School of Buddhist Studies, led the 4 Vipassana meditation retreat at Long Phước Pagoda, Vĩnh Trạch War, held under the theme Letting Go in Meditative Insights. The retreat guided practitioners in freeing themselves from the bonds of craving and sensory attachment. In his Dharma teaching, Venerable Đồng Tâm emphasized that attachment originates from desire, our craving for pleasant sensations, whether stemming from affection or aversion triggered by others. Even when one understands that such attachment leads to suffering, beings continue to cling. He urged participants to observe the arising of craving and to realize that emotions are merely fleeting sensations. By deeply contemplating impermanence, one can genuinely practice letting go, breaking free from bondage and moving toward true liberation. He warned that resisting the natural flow of life only creates inner struggles and deepens suffering. The inherent nature of Dharma is freedom, not grasping. When one clings to desire, even while living in human form, the mind is already sailing through the lower realms of existence. Quoting the Buddha's vivid metaphors, desire as a dry bone, a pit of fire, and honey on a razor blade, Venerable Đồng Tâm illustrated the peril of sensual craving. He reminded the assembly that genuine renunciation does not arise from anger or extremism, but from wisdom and insight. Desire leads to suffering, and attachment is its root cause. Letting go means returning to mindfulness, interrupting the habitual grips on sensation, and in doing so, transforming suffering into peace. Reported by Information and Communications Board of Kamau Buddhism, formerly Bạc Liêu.
In a historic step forward, the Standing Committee of Vietnam Buddhist Sangha in Kamau Province held its first official meeting on July 4th at Long Phước Pagoda following the formal mergers on the former Provincial Sangha boards of Kamau and Bạc Liêu.
On July 4, 2025, the Standing Committee of the Vietnam Buddhist Sangha (VBS) in Kamau Province held its first meeting at Long Phước Pagoda, Vĩnh Trạch Ward, following the official merger of the former Sangha boards of Kamau and Bạc Liêu. Most Venerable That Ha, chairman of the provincial board, presided over the session. Attending were representatives from provincial authorities, including Mr. Bùi Minh Hải, Vice Chair of the Vietnam Fatherland Front Committee, and Mr. Tô Thanh Phương, Deputy Director of the Department of Ethnic and Religious Affairs. The meeting reviewed personnel appointments, including 2 advisors, 1 non-advisor, 37 standing members, 69 executive members, and 4 alternates. Draft proposals for 11 specialized subcommittees were also presented. The headquarters were designated at Phật Tổ Pagoda, Quang Âm Cổ Tự, An Xuyên Ward, the standing office at Long Phước Pagoda, Vĩnh Trạch Ward. The committee plans to further consolidate monastery management boards across the province. Most Venerable That Ha praised the spirit of harmony and unity and expressed confidence in the future success of Buddhist affairs in the newly unified province.
This event reflects the ever-present light of Dharma guiding both monastics and lay people in Kamau Province through compassionate service, spiritual cultivation, and the transmission of wisdom. The Sangha continue to show seeds of peace and awakening in our world. Thank you for your kind attention and continuous support. Until next time, may the Triple Gem bless you with tranquility, health, and steadfast faith on the path. See you in our next podcast. Namo Buddhaya.